Hey everybody! This video is going to go over the PowerPoint in the Week 7 module on Chapter 17, Writing the Essay. So far we have looked specifically at writing standalone paragraphs, but that's not a realistic way of thinking about all the different things that you may have to write, both in school and in real life, in your careers or whatever. A lot of times you're asked to write longer pieces, which we would often call an essay or maybe even an article. So now it's time to take what we've learned about the basics of paragraph writing and learn how to use that knowledge to now write a full essay. Okay. So we know that a paragraph is a group of sentences that begins with a single point, the topic sentence. And then the rest of the sentences in that paragraph explore and explain that point. Those are our supporting sentences. And then the paragraph ends with a reminder or a final thought on that point, what we call the point sentence or the concluding sentence. So we have that structure in our mind. We have that topic sentence at the beginning that is laser focused and tells the reader exactly what the paragraph is going to be about. And then we know we have our supporting sentences that help back up that point, that topic, and then we conclude it. An essay has a very similar structure. It's just made up of multiple paragraphs, but those paragraphs function in the same way that those sentences do in a standalone paragraph, right? An essay is going to consist of an introductory paragraph and then several body paragraphs. There's no rule on how many body paragraphs you need. It really just depends on the topic and what you're doing in the essay. There's usually, though, going to be at least 2 or 3 body paragraphs, usually. And then we have a concluding paragraph, right? So they have very similar structures. And if you look on slide 3 of the PowerPoint, there's actually a visual representation of this. So on the image, you see on the left-hand side a little image of like the shape of a paragraph. And then on the right-hand side, you have sort of the shape of an essay. And there are sections highlighted in different colors on both the paragraph and the essay. So if you look at the sections that are highlighted in blue, in the paragraph, the blue highlighted section is the topic sentence, right? We know a paragraph begins with the topic sentence that reveals the focus topic of the paragraph as well as the writer's purpose within the paragraph. Likewise, in an essay begins with an introductory paragraph that contains a thesis statement. Much like a topic sentence, the thesis statement reveals the focus of the essay and the writer's purpose within the essay, right? So we're taking that single sentence from a paragraph, the topic sentence, and when it comes to writing an essay, we expand and make it an introductory paragraph, and that sentence that focuses the reader's attention on what the essay is going to do is called a thesis statement. And then there's the sections highlighted in yellow, right? So we know that the bulk of a paragraph consists of the support sentences, and those support sentences explain and support with specific details the topic of the paragraph. In an essay, the bulk of the essay consists of body paragraphs, each supporting with specific evidence the thesis of the essay. And then the section highlighted in green, in the paragraph, it's the concluding sentence or our point sentence. It reminds us of the writer's point and closes out the paragraph. In an essay, again, we expand on that and it becomes a concluding paragraph. And it does the same thing. It reminds us of the writer's thesis and draws the essay to a close. So a paragraph and an essay pretty much have the same exact structure. It's just an essay expands on that structure. But the template is still very much the same, right? On slide 4, we get a different type of look at the structure of an essay. So that introductory paragraph, which is the upside down triangle in blue at the top, it's going to start broad. That's why it's upside down. So we start broad. We have a broad opening statement that grabs the reader's attention and sets the tone for the essay, introduces the topic, and then we have some more sentences after that that start explaining the topic, maybe giving background information if necessary, and then we get narrower and narrower, and then the introductory paragraph ends with the thesis statement. And that thesis statement is the main point of the essay, and it often includes the main points that you're going to discuss in the essay. We're going to take a closer look at introductions here in a little bit, but that's just the general idea of how an introduction works. So you start broad, grab your reader's attention, introduce the topic in a very general way, and then as you write the introduction, the focus becomes narrower and narrower, and then you end with that thesis statement so that your reader knows exactly what's coming in the rest of the essay. Just like your topic sentence tells your reader exactly what's coming in the rest of that paragraph, right? Then we have the body paragraphs of the essay, right? So you have your first main point, and you're going to use illustrations and examples and supporting details to back up that first main point, right? Remember that everything that you include in that main point needs to directly support the thesis statement, just like the supporting sentences in your paragraph need to directly support the topic sentence, right? And then you'll have your next main point, and then possibly, more than likely, a third main point, right? And each paragraph is going to do the same thing. They're going to have examples and illustrations and specific details to back up each main point. It might take more than one paragraph to discuss a single main point, especially if you're getting into more complicated topics. There's no rule that says an essay can only be 5 paragraphs, like your introductory paragraph, 3 body paragraphs, 1 for each main point, and then a concluding paragraph. When you get into more complex topics and subject matter, you might need several paragraphs to develop one main point, right? We've all read essays that long. We know that there are plenty of essays and articles out there that are way more than 5 paragraphs, right? So just keep that in mind. Sometimes you need more than 1 paragraph to discuss a single main point, but every paragraph is working in a specific way to support a main point, and all of your main points are working together to support your thesis statement, okay? So we've talked about those body paragraphs. That's what we've been working on, those standalone paragraphs. So you've already had some practice at writing different types of body paragraphs. They've been self-contained though, right? We're going to expand on those in the next couple weeks. What we have not talked about in terms of paragraph development are what we call transitional sentences. And often we've talked about transitions within a body paragraph, how you need to connect all your thoughts throughout the paragraph so that your reader keeps, stays on track with you and understands how you're getting from one idea to the next. The paragraphs themselves in an essay also need to be connected. So within the topic sentence of a body paragraph, there will also be a transition that reminds us of the paragraph we just discussed and introduces the focus topic of this new paragraph. We are going to take a close look at how transitional topic sentences function in the body paragraphs of an essay. And then we have our concluding paragraph, which it takes the opposite shape of the introduction. The introduction started broad and brought us down to a narrow focus. The conclusion, because we've been talking about that narrowed focus throughout the whole essay, so the conclusion starts with that narrowed focus, reminds the reader of everything that's been discussed, the highlights of the essay, and then draws us out more broad and ends with some sort of final reflection or final thought. So what we do in a paragraph is very similar to what we do in an essay. An essay is just a more expanded version of a thought process. of an idea that you want to explore. So we're going to be looking at each step separately. So the first thing we're going to look at after this PowerPoint and video, we're going to look at introductory paragraphs and thesis statements, right? So we're going to look at different ways you can grab your reader's attention at the very beginning of an introductory paragraph, how you can lead into your topic, and then how you present a thesis statement. We're going to look very closely at all of that. Then we're going to take another look at body paragraphs. We won't need to spend quite as much time on this section of an essay because we've already worked so much with paragraph development already. But we are going to take a close look at those transitional topic sentences that I just mentioned. And then we're going to look at the third section of the essay, concluding paragraphs. You will look at a handout and a video lesson on that as well. So despite the fact that this PowerPoint is only 6 slides long, it might make you think that writing an essay is pretty easy. I hope it is easier for you now that we have spent so much time working on those body paragraphs. But it's still a multi-step process, so we're going to look at each of those steps individually and then work on putting them all together to write an essay. So you guys are free to go ahead and move on to the next item in the weekly module.